Right. I'll mute some people. Good evening, everyone. I am Reverend Sherri James. I am Senior Minister for Understanding Principles Church in Los Angeles, and I am excited to be here. This is our last class before the Thanksgiving break, and I am excited because we're studying one of my favorite people who we've never have talked about him from the Bible Hangout, but we've never really dug into any of his material. And I just thought that we couldn't get through a prayer series without talking about Neville Goddard. And so I'm going to put a disclaimer out there because I know that there are tons of Neville aficionados, of which I am one. And so I do not want y'all hating on me if I do not do him justice, but I'm going to do my very best to give you everything that I have in regards to Neville. So let me get my outline. So the topic tonight is about mastering your inner motion. Master your inner motion. And it is the secret to effective prayer. Master your inner motion. And so this is the part 2 of a special webinar on prayer. It's outside of the texts that we were using for this session. Our outline is, I've got some announcements. I've got opening prayer. We're going to talk about why prayer matters. We're going to talk about the fact that your inner motion makes your world. And then we'll talk about 6 principles to master your inner motion. And then my call to action to you, and then Q&A. And of course, you can ask questions throughout. The Bible Hangout, what's your why? I think it's important that you know why you do what you do. I think that is the difference between success and failure, and also to help you get clear on your own motives, because how do you know that you've been successful if you cannot say, well, this is why I was doing it and then this occurred. And so one of the reasons that the Bible Hangout is free, it's every week, is one that I love to teach and I love to reach people, and I am grateful. And one of the things that happens that I appreciate is I get a lot of people who come and say, you know, this teaching has changed my life. This has made a difference for me. I didn't even know this was out here. And so I'm just grateful to be able to share this in this kind of setting, and just to let you know that this kind of teaching is available. If you are looking for a center that teaches like what you're studying with me teaches, let me know and I'll make you aware of some of the centers in your area. And then if not, we've got tons of online offerings via Upchurch with webinars and telecalls and all kinds of stuff where even though you're not in the Los Angeles area, you still can dial in and be a part of what we're doing here in Southern California. The Bible Hangout is free, but it does cost to produce. And so if you like what you hear and you want to make sure that this is around for other people, if you would consider making a gift, and there are any gift of any size is appreciated. And you know, however you decide to support, I am grateful. This series has 3 parts. There is a blog, there's the Bible Hangout, and there's the mastermind group. We had our last mastermind prayer call before the Thanksgiving break last night, and we will resume that after the Thanksgiving break. So I believe that is Wednesday, November 30th is the next mastermind call. The blog is always published on Thursday as early as I can get it out of my hands. And then the Bible Hangout is at 7 o'clock every Thursday night, Pacific Standard Time. I put this out to my church because this is our Bible study that we're doing as a webinar. It's just one of the ways that we're being inventive while we are growing into our own building. And so I just invited, if you guys want to come and hang out and do the Bible Hangout like here in the office, like, you know, if you're in Southern California, come on down. Let's hang out. Let's do this live. So that invitation is open to anyone. If you're visiting LA, you want to plan your trip so that you're here Thursday night, come on and hang out. Panorama of Truth 2017 is coming. I am over the moon about this. Now, here's the thing. We already got one MBH insider who's signed up for one of the swim up rooms. And so I'm so excited that she's going to be joining, and I want to throw this challenge out because it hit me that, like, you know, POT could really be just the folks from the Bible Hangout. Like, we could totally populate that entire island. So I'm challenging a couple of those of you that are on the fence, if you want to come, this is that opportunity, and go ahead and just begin to make payments and just trust that the Spirit will meet you at your point of limitation and will deliver for you a miraculous way for you to get there. And either it'll be you getting the money, or someone gifting you the trip, or some other windfall that allows you to be in Jamaica. But just set the intention and put something behind the intention. You can call the UFBL business office at 305-624-4991. Of course, I said that really fast. So if you need that number, just drop me an email and I'll get that to you. And that's August 9th through the 13th in Montego Bay, Jamaica. We will be staying at the Hyatt Ziva Rose Hall. You get to vote. Okay, so there's one text that's in the lead, but we'll see. I'm going to run the poll now. And at the end of the class, we'll announce the winner. If you're on the newsletter, you received the link and you got a chance to vote early. Those of you that haven't had a chance to vote, this is your opportunity now. And I'm excited to see, but I think I know what's going to win. So I have no idea how to tell you guys how to vote, because I don't know what the user end of this looks like. So I'm just trusting that you guys are going to vote and put it out there. Oh, Andrea says, my husband and I plan on visiting your church within a year. LA is one of the places we want to visit. Yay, 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 yay. Yvonne says, I need that trip as a vacation by myself. Come, please come. I'm telling you, it's worth it. It is, nothing I say can oversell it. I promise you, you will enjoy it. So definitely come. Oh, goodness. Discover the power within you is winning, y'all. Okay, so the poll is going to go throughout the rest of the class, and we'll announce it at the end of the class. The scripture for this series has been Matthew 21:22. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. And so I just ask that you just relax in this moment that we have together. This is our last session before the Thanksgiving break, and we're moving into the end of the year. And I just want to give thanks and praise to God for this platform, for this idea called the Bible Hangout, that we've been hanging out together for over 3 years now on Thursday nights. I thank you so much, Father, for the people that you have brought together, the community that we have formed. And I thank you for the ways that you are growing and stretching and moving us into our greater selves. We just open our hearts and our minds tonight for you to do a new thing in us. Let us become new creatures in Christ. Behold, you will do a new thing in us, and we are open for it. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I bless this class. I bless our conversation. I thank God for it. And I look forward to what he is going to do this evening with us. In the name and through the power that is in the name of Jesus, we affirm that it is so, and so it is. And amen. Okay, why prayer matters. Prayer matters because your life moves in the direction that you are inwardly pointed. Your life moves in the direction you are inwardly pointed. Let that just roll around with you. You move in the direction in which you are inwardly pointed. Let me give this to you in a practical way, because I think you know this, right? When you get up in the morning and you do a mental scan of your closet, and you decide before you get to the closet, sometimes in the closet, but you decide what you want to wear and what you want to look like in the day, during the day. And you choose according to the image in your mind. Even if you go into the closet and look through the clothes, you're still imagining what it will be like to wear the clothes that are on the rack, whether that is you thinking about like how the clothes are going to feel, or whether that is you thinking what you're going to look like in the clothes, but you image what you think it's going to be like, and then you put the clothes on. And so our lives move according to the way that we are inwardly focused. They move according to the way that we are inwardly focused. And so what prayer does, and why prayer matters, is that it points you in the right direction. Prayer points you in the right direction. And you want that. You need that. We all need that. You want to know, is what I'm doing right now moving me the way that God wants me to move? The only way to know that is through prayer. There's no scientific study. You can't get any empirical data. The only way to know that the decisions and the actions that I am taking right now are the decisions and the actions that I should be taking right now is through prayer. That's it. And so this is why prayer matters above all else. Now, one of the things that Neville teaches is that your inner world, your inner motion makes your outer world. Your inner motion makes your outer world. And that's a powerful thing to grasp, because we become where we habitually go in our imagination. Become where we habitually go in our imagination. Well, anyway, I was thinking of something to say to add to that, but bottom line is that your imagination is the determining factor as to what manifests in your experience. And I think Neville explains it probably better than I have at this moment. I'm pulling up the blog post. I have it handy on my iPad while I talk to you guys. But what he talks about is mastery of this inner motion, and he speaks of it as the secret of scriptural prayer. Your inner motion is the inward movement of your imagination. And so we've done this experiment before. You guys have done it with me, where I've asked you that even though you are situated in Santa Rosa, California, or Cleveland, Ohio, even though you're situated physically there, even without you leaving your home or wherever you are, you can send the Christ of your being into a new experience. And you can do it right now, right where you are. You can get up and just pick another city that you've been to so you know what it looks like, and put yourself in the airport in that city. Right now, I can see myself in the airport in O'Hare in Chicago, Illinois. I know what the airport looks like. And I know all those, well, they may have changed the light show now, but the little light things on the tunnel underneath, I can see those lights. I can go there right now. You can go places in your mind in a way that is deeply, deeply, deeply real, where you feel it with your entire being. You can smell it. You can sense it with all of your 5 senses. This is what Neville is talking about. It's where in prayer you become where you want to go, and you take yourself there in mind. And where you go in mind, you will eventually go in the body. Oh no, Myra said she couldn't get on the strip. Are we filled? No, Myra, you know what? We're not filled. I'm gonna put the link there. Okay, Myra, you can use that link to pull into the strip. Now the thing is that each of us has a place that we habitually go in our minds, and our lives reflect or look like where we habitually go. Change where you go in mind, and you will change where you go in the body. And there are certain things that end up being triggers for you. So like, say, for example, you may have been pulled over by the police because your registration lapsed. And let's say your registration lapsed because you haven't had the money to pay for it. So this experience, while it's neutral, right? It's just the cop, you had an expired tag and the cop pulled you over, because that's what happens when you have can happen when you have an expired tag. And so you're pulled over, and instead of looking at the situation objectively, let's say the cop lets you go away with a warning. But instead of looking at the situation objectively, you begin to feel all of these emotions about the fact that you didn't have the cash to basically pay the registration. And now all of a sudden you're reflecting on how long you haven't had the cash to pay for the registration. And you just kind of spiral down. And so we do that with a lot of external stimuli, where things happen, and then we begin to make a set of decisions in our imagination, right? The cop didn't write a ticket. It was just a warning to get your registration cleared up so that you can move forward. And yet we have set up this imaginary scenario in our mind that's making us feel badly about who we are and where we're going and our prospects in life. And so with the type of prayer that Neville is advocating, it's where you are beginning to go in your mind where you want to go. You choose desirable places to be. And I don't mean just physical places, but also states of consciousness. The state of consciousness of having enough, the state of consciousness of happiness, the state of consciousness of peace. These are places that you can begin to go in your mind. And if you will persist in going there, it will then become a habit for you. It will become who you are. It'll become where your mind runs to, even in your unguarded moments. And the thing that probably impressed me most about Neville's work, and what I really grasped, was that it's not so much what happens in those guarded moments. Like, this is a guarded moment, right? We're talking about spiritual things. We're thinking about God. We're thinking about Neville and the things that he taught about God. We're thinking about the whatever, right? Positive things. But it's the unguarded moments. It's when you're in your day. You are on the road to work and somebody cuts you off. I was on the freeway today. Sorry, there's a kid here. I was on the freeway today and driving south on the 110, and I'm parallel and next to a car, not behind them, like next to the car. And apparently the driver next to me was distracted, and they begin to come intentionally into my lane and almost basically hit my car if I don't move over. And fortunately, there was room on my left side for me to move over so that they could go ahead, because they didn't stop. They didn't stop. So I don't know if the person was just completely clueless or if they were just a reckless driver. But you think about how you would, respond in that kind of situation. And one of the things, just because I've been practicing on not being set off by things, that as they were doing it, like, one, I was frustrated, but then I caught myself and I was like, you know what, thank you for the grace that there wasn't an accident, that this didn't turn into a mess on the freeway, because we're all driving at like 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. And thank you that I'm divinely protected, that the white light of Christ is around me. Instead of going into flipping the person off, blowing my horn really hard, screaming at them and they can't hear me, or instead of doing any of that, it was like, let me get to thank you, because I'm alive and there's no accident and my car is unscathed, untouched. Right. And so with this type of prayers, those are the kinds of things that come up, and they become stimuli that then cause us to run in a particular direction. But we're trained to go in that direction, and our minds develop habitual patterns of going in that direction. And so what Neville is advocating is to become intentional about the directions that you send your mind in. Andrea says, not allowing the circumstance to shake your peace of mind. Amen. Constance says, I remember when Louise Hay says to keep me in alignment, everyone is just driving and not name it anything else. Yes, that's it. But That's the responsibility that we have, which is to stay in our right minds. Stay in our right minds. Where you go in life is where you are inwardly pointed. When you allow something to knock you for a loop, and I use that word intentionally, when you allow something to knock you for a loop, you have essentially changed the inner direction, and you're now pointed away from your good. When you're all up in a tizzy and angry and screaming at the top of your lungs, you are not pointed towards your good. When you master your inner motion, you change the way you respond to external stimuli. There's a line, I believe it's from In Vogue. It says, free your mind and the rest will follow. When you free your mind, your body will follow. Right now, most of us do one of two things. If we go to the future, we go to the future worrying. If we go to the past, we go to the past regretting. And the thing is that your body is anchored wherever you physically are, but your mind is not. Your mind is not anchored at all. Your mind is free to wander. And what Neville is talking about is intentionally sending your mind into desirable forms, intentionally sending your mind into places, things, locations, experiences that you want to inhabit. And if you will practice doing it, you will actually get good at doing it. And then you will reach this point of mastery where it says, then the only prayer is thank you, because you know that if I say it, it's going to become so. If I think it, it's going to become so. I'm no longer questioning whether or not I have the ability to master my life, world, and affairs. I know that I am the master of my life, world, and affairs. Any questions? Andrew says, I have my moments when there's no external appearances, but I allowed myself to worry. This lesson is truly for me. It's for me too. It's definitely for me. Definitely. So I want to give you 6 principles to master your inner motion. And the first one is to make life get tired of telling you no. Make life get tired of telling you no. Be like the importunate widow. Go back until you get what you want. I don't know which gospel it's in. I think she's probably in Luke, if it's a widow, but it's the parable of the importunate widow. And it says that, she's an example that for us to follow. And she basically comes to the judge again and again, asking for vindication. At first, the judge does not respond, but then he reasons, although I neither fear God nor regard man, yet I will exonerate her, because by her much coming she wearies me. And she's giving us an example that you go back until you get what you want. So many times we stop going for what we want, and we think that that a no that somebody has given is the final no for us. And the only time there's a final no is when you have given it to yourself. You determine that the no that you have heard is final. Otherwise, you can keep going back and asking, because it's a matter of becoming. So when the answer is no, it doesn't mean no for all eternity. It means no, you don't have the consciousness to have this. And so as you keep working on yourself, there is a change that's happening in you. And each time you go back to it, hopefully you're going back as a new person. But here's the thing, if you keep going back, eventually life says, fine, this is what she wants. It takes time to change the mind. It takes time to write new patterns. Yes, it can happen in an instant. Absolutely. But more likely it's happening incrementally. And so each time you're going back, you're getting better. Each time you're going back, you're getting better. Each time you go back and you're getting better and you're getting better and you're getting better. And then finally, you are the person who can have the thing that you have asked for. What isn't in the story, right, is how the widow is changing each time she's coming back to the judge. And we have that way, the ability to be that way with life, where we continually come back. It was Thomas Edison that said he failed 10,000 times before he stumbled upon the creation of the light bulb. Who would have given up at, the 3,457th time? He still had more than half of his tries ahead of him before he would get to success. And so many of us quit before we get to success because we think that, well, it's not for me. Well, it's not part of God's will. Listen, the best of whatever it is that you want is always for you and is always God's will for you. And so if the answer is no, it just means no in that form, but it doesn't mean no for all eternity, for all forms, for all time. It means no, the way that you're seeking it and who you are right now in consciousness, what you want is incompatible. But if you will continue to shape yourself, to change the way that you think, to reach for who you can be, it can be yours. I think it's Jim Rohn that says, set a big goal, not for the goal itself, but for who you have to become in order to have it. There's a becoming that you have to have. When I was applying to graduate school, one of the things that I did, it was a big deal because I didn't have the, the background. Like, all right, I wasn't, I had, it was theater, but I wasn't like a film major. I didn't have any like film samples I could send in for them to look at or anything like that. And so I went all out in constructing, my application, because I wanted to make sure that they could definitely tell me yes. And in turning in my essay, I ended up doing like 40 plus drafts it's a one-page essay, 40 plus drafts of the one-page essay, tweaking little bits here and there, every little fine point detail. So when you set a big goal, it's not for the goal, it's for who you have to become. There's a person that I was becoming on that 27th draft, right? There's a person I was becoming on the 35th draft. And it's the same thing with you. You set a big goal, not so much for the goal, although it's great to fulfill the goal, but you set the goal for who you have to become in the process. You are changing. And so when you become like the importunate widow, you keep going back until you get it right. Life is going to get tired of telling me no. The first time I read something like that was actually in Think and Grow Rich, and it just hit me so hard. Make life tired of telling you no. Make life say, you know what? She keep coming back. She must want this. Phyllis says he also found out what did not work too. Yes, referring to Edison. Absolutely. Absolutely. Principle number 2, it takes practice to become a master. It takes practice to become its master, actually is what it says. It takes practice to become its master. And what the it is your imagination. It takes practice. It's a simple technique, right? The technique is very, very straightforward. What you do is that you say, I want a brand new car. And then you simply, on a consistent, like the importunate widow, you just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And you go and you test drive the car, and you imagine yourself in the car, but you continue to go to the car in your imagination. And then one day there is like a click, because that's what it feels like, has felt like for me, where it's like you just know that you know that you know that it is done. When I got the car that I have right now, I would go and I would test drive the car. I don't even know how long I did that. I would test drive the car year after year after year. I mean, like it couldn't have been that many years, at least 3 years, because the car, that model of the car came out in 1999 and I got it in 2001. And when I first saw it, I just loved it. And I would go to the dealership. I would go there at nighttime and just walk around and look inside and just look at the buttery leather and just, and this is when they still had wallpaper on computers. And I had the picture of the car as the wallpaper on my computer. And then I got a keychain that was going to be my keychain, that I expected the car. And then I went to my Boulay and they had the license tag, so I bought the license holder, and I bought that. But I kept doing these things to just summon the car in my experience. And then one day, early May 2001, I was walking out of my office and I was putting my key in the car that I had at that time, which is a Mazda 626. And it washed over me like just a feeling and a knowing. And it was like, you're done with this. And I was like, okay. And I remember the feeling, and nothing changed immediately. But from that day to less than a month later, I had my car. It had it in hand, driving around with my drop top, excited. So where you go in your mind, if you will continually go there, it will become, where you go will become what you experience. But it takes time to become a master. And we get discouraged, we get sidetracked, life happens, right? And so this is saying, don't let life just happen. Lean in, keep reaching for whatever it is that you want, but the reach is in mind. And there may be some outer things, but the most important thing is to reach in mind and let the reach inwardly inspire the action outwardly. One of the other things that he says, this is what I say. He says, prayer is motion. It's learning how to move toward a change in your bank balance, your marital status, or social world. The technique of prayer is mastering your inner motion. It is where you begin to move in mind to the bank balance that you want. So you have your bank balance of whatever it is today. And you begin to sit and imagine yourself, and you make it real for yourself. What does it feel like to have the level of money that you're calling forward? What is there a sense of relief? Like, what does that feel like in your body, right? So you put yourself in that state. And if you will continually put yourself in that state, your subconscious mind will work out the practical way for you to get there. For every place that you are and where you want to be, there is a practical path for you to get there. You don't yet see it because you don't have the consciousness for it, but your subconscious mind will begin to clear the way and will walk you from where you are to where you want to be. I have had it happen. It is absolutely the experience that I have had. Oh, so one thing I should say, this is the practice, right? Because you're blocking out all distractions and going within yourself to your preferred reality. Your mind may wander. You may fall asleep. And I'm saying go again until you are successful, because that's happening to me right now. So I'm working on a new car. And the last 2 days, right, I set my little reminder, do it on my phone. And the last 2 days, I have fallen asleep in the process of seeing myself in my new car. That's okay. Stick with it, because it takes time to become a master. Number 3, learn to live your desires. Living your desire is different than simply desiring a thing. When you desire something, you actually think of it. But when you live a thing, you think from it. There is a difference between thinking of the car you want to drive and actually driving the car. As long as you think of the car, you keep yourself separate and apart from the experience. But to make it yours, you must actually drive the car, whether you do it in your body or your mind. I think it was Dr. Deborah Johnson. She is her church, I think, is Inner Light Ministries in the Bay Area. And I heard her tell the story that basically the mind does not know the difference between an actual or an imagined act. And she told the story of this basketball study with some students, and the students were divided into 3 groups and given 3 distinct set of instructions. Group A was told to practice as they normally would. Group B was only told to imagine themselves practicing, and Group C was told not to practice it at all. And when they reconvened after a period of time, the results were shocking. Group C underperformed, as you might imagine. Group A improved their scoring average, as you might imagine, but it was Group B that shocked everyone, improving their scoring average as much as Group A, the group that had actually practiced. The thing is that the mind does not know the difference, and specifically the subconscious phase of mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is actual. And so if you will go there in your mind, if you will go there, you will basically begin to make an impression on your subconscious mind that feels real. And that's why you have to do it and bring together all the sensory vividness of it, make it as real as possible for yourself, because the more real you make it, the more you convince your own subconscious mind that it has happened, or that it is happening, or that it is yours. And so you must live the desire. What would it feel like for you to have the car that you want? Would it be a sense of pride? Would it be a really loving the car and really taking care of the car? You know, how would you treat it? Would you go to the car wash once a week, right? Maybe even before you get the car, you should be going to the car wash once a week with the one you have. So it's to begin to assume the behaviors and the attitudes and the habits that you would have were the thing that you want already present. Any questions on this so far? Any questions so far? All right. Number 4, use baby steps to master your inner motion. Neville shares this exercise that Abdullah taught him to master his inner motion. And this is what he said. He said, every day I would sit in my living room where I could not see the telephone in the hall. With my eyes closed, I would assume I was in the chair by the phone. Then I would feel myself back in the living room. This exercise was very helpful to me. If you try it, you will discover you become very loose with this exercise. You get better over time. And so if you will take a personal goal and commit to trying this exercise just 5 minutes a day until you get good at it, you will begin to develop the type of habit that will aid you in manifesting that which you want. And it's just 5 minutes. So let's say that you are applying to graduate school, right? I'm just throwing that example out there. You're applying to graduate school. Go get an image of one of the classrooms and put yourself in the classroom. Put the other students around you. Put the professor at the front of the class. Make the professor say, welcome to whatever the university is. So you begin to put yourself in the space that you want to be in. You take yourself there in your mind, and your subconscious mind will work out the practical means for you to get there. Everybody's path is not the same. And this is why you can't waste too much time trying to emulate somebody else, because your subconscious mind knows how to take you there. It knows the way to get you where you want to go. And if you will rely on it, if you will lean on it, it will take you there. The 5th principle, the goal is to think from the end. We do not simply want to master our inner motion. We want to think from the end. So it's not just Go put yourself there, but it's actually to become what it would feel like were the end your true experience. When I travel in my imagination to preferred experiences and circumstances, my goal is to make these experiences and circumstances as real as possible to myself. And to the degree that I can, I must give my imagination the sensory vividness that an actual experience provides. I've got to see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, smell it. Go in your mind where you want to be and then dwell there. Make it real. Neville writes, or he said, it was a transcript, in imagination, I can put myself where I desire to be. I move and view the world from there. Then I return here, confident that in a way unknown to me, this being who can do all things and knows all things will lead me physically across a bridge of incident up to where I have placed myself. When I was purchasing the house that I live in right now, I did not have a dime, a steady job, or any of those things. I did have credit. But you still got to demonstrate for the bank that you can pay for the house. And I just went and started looking for a house. And as I continued to look for a house and even put in offers, the means to have it came about. As I continued to reach for it and to assume that it is mine, the means for it to be mine came about. If you will begin to reach for what you want in your subconscious mind, just get going. Your subconscious mind will work out a practical path by which you can have that which you seek. It is not rocket scientist. It does not require you to be a magician. You can reach for it and it will become so. You can reach for it and it will become so. And I love that expression, bridge of incident, because it doesn't have to be a way known to you. If you will just start to reach for it. Jack Canfield tells this story in The Secret, when they wanted to develop a bestseller, and this was like early, pre-Chicken Soup for the Soul. Like this was the first book that they were trying to put out, and they just began to reach for it. And then the idea came, if we could. Well, he set a goal. He said, I wanted to sell $100,000 worth of books, and then he said, well, if we can get in the National Enquirer, that's going to be seen by X number of people, and then we'll, that's going to be able to get us the type of reach that we want. And so he has this idea, and then he is at a conference and meets a woman who says she works or writes for the National Enquirer. If you will just begin to reach for it, the spirit within your subconscious mind will begin to work out the practical pathway for you to be there. It's powerful. It's absolutely powerful. And so you start to think from the end. You start to assume, okay, this is already done, right? So whatever your thing is, I'm already a best-selling author. I'm already a wellness coach with a book of business. I'm already a highly paid filmmaker, or I'm already a rich retiree. Whatever your thing is, if you will begin to reach for it, it will become your experience. It has no choice, because that's the way the law works. You just simply have to reach for it. Principle number 6, my world bears witness to my inner motion. My world bears witness to my inner motion. We are forever drawing confirmation of what we are doing within ourselves. We are forever drawing confirmation of what we are doing within ourselves. Rather than brush this technique off, consider that you are already working it. You are already using your imagination to manifest your world. You may not have known that you can be intentional about the things you imagine, but the function and purpose of the imagination remains the same. It is the creator of your experience. Our lives bear witness to what we are doing within ourselves. And I love this sentence, especially the first time I heard it. Everything and everyone is yourself pushed out. Everything and everyone is yourself pushed out. That may not be a comfortable sentence to read when you consider some of the things happening in the world today, but spiritual law must hold true for all things, not just the things we want to manifest. And so I'm advocating that we become intentional about the way that we use our imagination, that we are absolutely 100% intentional. Any questions? We'll say which part. Alita said, can you say that in a different way? Tell me which part, Alita. That everything and everyone is yourself pushed out, that part? Yes. Okay. So everything in your life, world and affairs, your house, your car, your bank account, your relationships, everything is yourself pushed out into expression. It represents some aspect of who you are. I'll use this example. I look at I have a family member who got a brand new car, and it was lovely. And inside of, I don't know, a little while, but not very long, the car looked like the way that she handles herself. So the inside took on the scent of, being only so clean. The front bumper was kind of broken from I guess running up on something, and now it's held together by tape. This is a brand new car. So everything in your world is yourself pushed out. And when I look at that car, I'm like, that car looks like how she handles herself. That car looks like how she thinks of herself. So and then there's somebody else who those things would have happened, and they would have not let that repair go undone. They would have found a way for the repair to happen, even if it might have been a tight situation for the repair to happen. So everything in our world is ourselves pushed out. And so when you're looking at your world, it's giving you data on who you are inwardly. It's giving you data on that. Any questions? So, bottom line, we've got work to do. We have got to be like this pawn. I just love this picture where the pawn looks in the mirror and sees the bishop. The pawn looks in the mirror and sees the bishop. And we have to begin to see ourselves as we want to be, not simply as we are. We must begin to dream big, to put ourselves to form the picture and then put ourselves in the picture. Form the picture and then put ourselves in the picture. And we have the ability to do that. It's not hard. It takes practice. It's not hard, but it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice, to tell you the truth. And so now it's time to do something. Are you willing to be more intentional in the use of your imagination? What I would love for you to do is take a 30-day challenge with me, choose an experience that you want, and practice putting yourself in it for 30 days and make it as real as possible for yourself. And then leave a comment on the YouTube video for this lesson and let me know what experience you plan to practice experiencing for the next 30 days. What I'm working on is a new car. I am deeply, deeply, deeply ready for a new car experience. And so I am putting myself in the picture of the new car. Questions? Questions, questions, questions. Yvonne says, I am a financially successful artist and transformational teacher, coach, and I live in a home with a casita on the property. I love that. I don't even know what a casita is. But she says a studio. Yes, that's it. Put yourself in the picture. We have so much available to us. All right, y'all. It is looking like, I don't want to call it just yet. I'm just going to say that we seem to be leaning towards Eric Butterworth. Andrea says, I am taking the challenge. I am entering a new job, a big change. I am seeing myself successful. Yes. Yes. I'm seeing my success. Yes. 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 Constance says, all right, I've got to get to dreaming. Yes. We have the ability to be anything, to be anything. Wherever you are, whatever you can dream of being, there is actually a practical path for you to get there, whether it's a rocket scientist, whether it's traveling in space, whether it is inventing something, whatever it is, right where we are, the means for it already exists. In fact, you couldn't even conceive of the idea were the means for it not already prepared as well. They go hand in hand. And so with this type of prayer, what you're beginning to do is to summon up from the depths of your own being the awareness of how to get there. And if you will do it, I tell you, I got a house, I got a car, I got a lot of stuff that have come through using this type of prayer technique. And this is pre-knowing Neville Goddard. So once I read him, I was like, oh, thank you, Neville. Thank you for letting me know what it is that I've been doing that I didn't necessarily have the language to explain. But it is where if you will image it in mind, if you will continue to send yourself there and just be intentional about where you go in your imagination, if you will practice going to good places in your imagination, then you don't have to worry so much in those unguarded moments. Those unguarded moments are when we have our biggest challenges. Those unguarded moments when we are, those unguarded moments when we're on the freeway and somebody cuts us off, and all of a sudden we're angry and we're ticked off, and so then we get to work or wherever we were going, ticked off, and we never walk ourselves back down from the ledge, so we're crunchy the whole day. And the thing about being crunchy the whole day is that we're interfering with our good, not the person who cut us off. I don't know what that person is feeling. I'm impacting me walking around with that anger. Questions? Alita says, I like the part when he described prayer as motion or movement. Yeah, one of the things that he says that I thought was powerful is that the word prayer means motion towards, accession to, at, or in the vicinity of. And so prayer is movement. Prayer is motion. It's where you are picking yourself up spiritually from where you are and moving closer to where it is that you want to be. Any questions? Oh, Yvonne says, I see myself in Jamaica in August and leading a workshop. Yes. I affirm that for you. Yes. I see that. Yes, 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 yes. Eve says, I will use the prayer for a new car. All right. So we got some new cars coming. We got some new cars coming. Okay. So by way of explanation, just so you guys know, I'm in the office, and First Lutheran is rehearsing for, I believe, their Sunday service. So I got a little background music. Thanks, Andrea. It's good. Yeah. I just felt like I'm shouting over the music. I don't know what, like in my ear, it sounds loud because they're like right there in the sanctuary. But, hey. All right. Well, let me announce the winner, and then we will break for our Thanksgiving break. It looks like, unless anybody wants to do it, to give another vote. I don't want to drum roll, I'll mess up the sound, but it is Discover the Power Within You, Eric Butterworth. Yeah! Woo! Go, Eric! Go, Eric! Okay. So make sure that you get the book. I'll send out an email with the link. And so we will dig into Eric Butterworth. It's going to be phenomenal. Eric is incredible, absolutely incredible. Constance says she's got 2 copies. I think I do too. It's a game changer book. And I think it was Reverend Sherri that said it best, that with Eric Butterworth is like he gives New Thought their Jesus back. And so this is really going to get into where this is actually a deep dive into Jesus and specifically the Sermon on the Mount. So I think this is going to be a powerful experience. Yvette says, I will use the prayer for a better job and weight loss. Yes. Quintina says, I see myself in a new job. Phyllis says, I already got mine this week. So you knew, Phyllis, you knew we were doing that. Thank you, Eves. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. I'll send you out on the soundtrack for First Lutheran. Have a great night. Take care.